Okay, looks like I'm live. Hopefully you all can hear me. And I'm going live on Instagram, which always takes a million years afterward. Yes, I can hear myself, so I gotta mute myself here. Okay, cool. And this will be my first time like sharing my screen on Restream and everything without help, so God help me. Um, all right, welcome to my very first Just the Tip Tuesdays. I'm going to be doing some Slack training. Why? Because I've noticed the Slack app becoming more and more prevalent. I've been using it since 2021. Okay. I have been using it in various ways in my business. So not only am I going to go over like the basics in Slack, but I'm also going to show you how I've been using it in business. Oh my God, am I frozen? Okay. Hopefully, hopefully I don't get frozen and stuff. Hopefully we're okay. All right. And then also, I'm going to be monitoring like the chat and stuff as well. So that hopefully, if you guys have any questions or anything, I am going to be able to answer that. I am going to be sharing my actual Slack, which is okay. I am totally lagging. Hang on one second. Do I need to switch networks or something? Hang on. Let me see here. I'm like watching it live as I'm doing it, so I'm trying to work out these kinks real quick. So we'll see. We'll see if switching networks helps. Not going well. Okay. And I'm gonna look real quick to see if this is working before I share my screen, and then we'll get into it. So far, so good. I'm not seeing any freezing, littering, and all right, cool. I'm just gonna go for it. If I start to see a bunch of comments saying that I'm frozen, then I'll just try again another time, or I'll do a pre-recorded session. But this looks like it's going a little bit better. All right, cool. Um, Apologies for my hair. I just didn't feel like doing it for you all. Okay. This Slack training here is what I'm going to cover down on. I'm actually going to try and get a lot done for you guys. Let me pull up my notes here. I even took notes for you. And I even went over some shortcut commands and everything, and I'm going to post those for you as well. I even learned a little bit more about Slack as I did some extra research because I wanted this to be worthwhile for, I guess, all of us. Okay. So I am going to share my screen. Let's see how this works. Okay. Hopefully we can all see this. Okay. I am lagging again. Fuck. Fuck my life. I'm okay. So my screen. Okay. I am go for it. It sucks that I can see that I'm lagging, but sorry about that. I'll redo the training, I guess, if I have to. And what I will do is go and then also give me some comments if it's like lagging too much, and then I'm not gonna waste my time and all of your guys' time. Okay. So hopefully you guys can see my screen and hopefully it's not too blurry or anything. So I'm gonna go to my Slack and I'm also gonna open my notes here. So basically Slack has been a total game changer in my business. All right. I mean, when you start in Slack, they give you like one channel called general. When you first set up your workspace, this is my workspace, that broker girl. And then I'm also involved in some other workspaces here. People invite me to workspaces or other things. And I every time I start to think of an idea or a project or something, I just start piling on. Okay. I do a different channel and I'm going to go into some of these channels that I have created. Okay. So that's just a general overview. I'm going to go over some of the terms of Slack. So we've got workspace, which I just described. That's the overall overarching, space that I have personally in my Slack. Channels, these are all these hashtaggy thingies over here. Direct messages, DMs are like, for instance, if I would click on this person's profile, this is my assistant, I can message her right here, and that would be a direct message, a DM. Then I also have, you can mention them. So right here, I could mention her in the channel and I could say, I'm mentioning you for this training. And she's going to get that alert a lot quicker than if I'm just saying something in a channel because it's specifically talking to her. All right. Threads. Now, threads are when you are responding to a specific part of a conversation. So if we go up to something up here, check on Reds in Slack, like, you know, I'm showing people how to respond in threads. This is a thread. Now, right here, when I responded in the thread, you can also say to send it to the actual channel and it'll do that. All right. So I go to send it to the channel and then it links back to the actual original message as well. So if this were closed and it sent it to the channel and I click on the message, it'll open the original message. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. Emoji reactions. Okay, so there are some specific emoji reactions that we use in our workspace, our business. We do, oh my God, I just feel like I'm lagging too much. We do these eyes is if we're reviewing something. So if I'm like, hey, blah, 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 I need you to check whatever, or what's the status of this, or what are we going to do about, this project? If they give me the eyes emoji, that means that they're looking into it. Same with me. If they post something for my review and I give the eyes emoji, that means that I'm looking into it and I am reviewing it. Okay. The white check mark emoji means like I've completed it, I acknowledged it, and that's also what the other people in my workspace use. That's what we use that emoji for. Another one, obviously, we use like a heart. The fire one's common, just like whatever, like you're on fire. Okay. Those are the common emojis, but the eyes and the white check mark are common emojis that we use to acknowledge things. Now, you don't get notifications on your emojis I'm going to turn my do not disturb on. I'm getting calls. You don't get you don't get notifications on emojis, but you can see them in your notifications up here. They're just not going to show up, you know, on your phone like a ding or anything like that. So if you so that I have instructed my assistant, you know, if you need a response from me or something, don't just do an emoji. Like, make sure you mention me, make sure that you're communicating with me. Emojis are for I'm looking into it, it's done, you know, non communicative things that you can just knock out that really don't need communication. Okay. So, alrighty. Okay, and thank you for the feedback on my lagginess or non-lagginess. Okay, I'm glad. So, now that we're through emoji reactions, we've got Slackbot. So, Slackbot is like they call it the Slack's built-in virtual assistant. Um, what I consider it to be is I'm going to show you an example of what I would use Slackbot for. So, let's see here. Events. Okay. So let's say that um lady posts this and I didn't respond. Okay. But I'm on a phone call. Okay. I don't have time to acknowledge this, but I don't want to forget about it. I read it. You can do a couple of different things. Okay. I could mark it as unread, but I've already read it. I don't want to, you know, keep like marking, you know, when you mark emails as unread and it starts to get annoying. What I like to do is I like to say, remind me about this. You can say 20 minutes, an hour, you know, custom, whatever you want to do. So I'm just going to say 20 minutes. And Slackbot is going to be like, you wanted me to remind you about this. Like, come back to this message. And that is one of my favorite features about Slack. It's my favorite nagging spouse. Okay. Integrations. Now, this app, it is an app in and of itself. It integrates with all kinds of other different apps. It's incredible. It integrates with Gmail, integrates with Asana. I have it integrated with Asana, my Calendly, Canva, my Google Calendar, Loom, Zapier. So these are the common integrations that I personally have. Let's see my dog streaming down there if you hear anything. It's not me. Um, let's see if we can go to, okay, browse apps. Oh, you know what? If I go to it, it's not gonna show you anything. I'll tell you what it does, but you guys, oh yeah, you guys might be able to see it since it's still in here. So ClickUp, that's another great one because I use ClickUp. So every time a task is completed, I do have this integrated with certain channels. OpenPhone, this is huge. And if you ever want to learn more about OpenPhone, let me know. It's awesome. It's my virtual assistants use OpenPhone, and I'll even show you. Uh, well, I'll go back to it. But OpenPhone, I have a specific channel dedicated to OpenPhone, and when my assistants are using it, either texting back and forth or making phone calls, I can actually monitor that channel. So it's badass. Okay. So these are, I mean, look at all these Zoom integration, MailChimp, you know. So these are all the ones that I've actually put in mine. And then there's like a ton of other integrations, obvi. Okay. So if I go back home, back to all of my channels down here, that's just scratching the surface of integrations. Notifications, I'm going to just kind of scratch the surface on that again because let's see here. Crap. Let's see. what I wouldn't want to do is trying to think here. I'm trying to think what a good channel would be for that. So for notifications, when you're setting up your own notifications, if you go to your own profile, which is at the bottom, um, I never update my own status, by the way. I don't set myself as away or anything like that. You will automatically go idle. Remember, like the AOL days, the AOL chat days, and things like that? You're going to automatically go idle. Okay. So don't worry about that stuff. But um, you can pause notifications if you need to. I actually just do it from my iPhone. So, if somebody's blowing me up in Slack, I'll just mute it for an hour or something like that. But what I want to warn you about is if you have a virtual assistant, I highly recommend that you have them set, like, let's say they're in the Philippines, right? I highly recommend that you have them set their time zone to your time zone. Okay. And then also make sure that their notification time matches up with yours. So, for instance, I noticed like a lot of virtual assistants, they wouldn't get notifications from their clients because it's their nighttime, right? So if it were, if it's the normal Slack default, it's the middle of the night for them that they're working. And so make sure that they're setting up their notifications. Basically, my notifications are always on because I have do not disturb on my iPhone. So whenever the hell I'm turning my brain off or whatever, or putting do not disturb on my iPhone is when my Slack notifications turn off. But what I do is I remind my assistants that, like, hey, just because I'm blowing up Slack, like, don't think that you need to respond, because my assistants are always on it. They're, very good. They're responding on weekends and shit, like, even when they don't have to. And I just make sure that they know, like, this is not, it's not expected. Sometimes they want to knock it out, or sometimes it's quick. If it's an emergency, we have this unwritten rule. Like, if it's an emergency, we'll get a hold of each other on Instagram. Okay. Otherwise, we just, keep putting messages to each other in Slack because this is where we communicate business. Okay. I think I've covered down on, like, basically like the basics of Slack. All right. So I'm just going to quickly say the differences between channels and direct messages. Again, obviously, you know, we all know about sliding into the DMs, right? So these are the channels all up and down here. And then at the bottom, or if you click on anybody's profile to send them a message, that is a DM. I want to also show you these channels. You can see that some of them have this lock on them and other just have the hashtag. The hashtag means that anybody in my workspace can see the channel. The lock means that it is a private channel and only invite only. Like, so only whomever I add to the channel can see it. I need some chapstick. Hang on. Working up some dry lips here. So for instance, and this is what's really cool. So if you have a real estate team like I do, it makes it really safe to communicate through Slack. You can add your whole team to the Slack workspace. And then here's an example of, my listings. And I've got them all locked down, and I only invite the team members to whoever needs to be invited to it. My assistant lady, my TC, she's in all of the channels, obviously, and managing those listings and stuff. So it becomes very secure, and that's awesome. And I'll show you how to add a channel now. So this plus down here, you can create new, and you can say message, start a conversation, DM. The other cool thing, and this is crazy, this is almost like a complete Zoom platform. Okay. You can straight up like practically Zoom with people. You can do a video or an audio chat with like as many people in your workspace as you want or just one person. And then the channel, I haven't done much with the Canvas thing, so I'm really not going to speak on that. But the channel, and if you guys have done something with Canvas, definitely comment and let me know all about it. And you can see right here, it gives you keyboard shortcuts as well. So pay attention to those if you ever, if like you're a keyboard shortcut warrior and want to learn those, Slack starts to kind of show you that stuff. But here's how you would start a channel, okay? So Slack training. Now, here's the thing. Your channels can only be all lowercase, okay? And they cannot have any spaces. You have to have a hyphen in between it, okay? So that's why all my channels look like that. So that's the first step. Now it wants to know, are we going to do a public channel or are we doing a private channel? Anymore, I'm basically only creating private channels. Like I'm pretty much locking down my Slack from now on. By the way, if you've started your Slack workspace and it's mostly public, you actually can go back and make those channels private as you see fit. You just simply go up and edit it, and what it'll ask is, do you want to create a new channel and make this one private going forward, or do you want to keep this channel and then lock it down? So it even gives you options from there. So I'm going to do private, and I'm only, who am I going to add? I'll add, Lady, because she's my assistant and I add her to practically every channel in my whole workspace. Okay. So Slack training channel. And if you go up here, here's a bunch of options. So this is how you can edit the name of the channel. You can actually describe what the channel's about. So this is a demo for my training. I'm not gonna retype that, guys, okay? Well, description too, whatever. I don't really do topics or descriptions, and I'm gonna show you why in a little bit, because it kind of is a time waster. Some people, I guess, are super organized in their Slack, but I'm going to show you why you actually don't have to be meticulous. Okay. If you want to leave the channel, you can leave the channel. It shows you all the members here. It shows you can add integrations, and here are the settings. Now, here's what's super cool. In the integrations, you can send emails to this channel. You can create the email address by saying get email address, copy, and now I've got the email address to this channel. Okay. So I've started to create channels that I have created rules in Google in my Gmail about that automatically feed into certain channels in Slack. So I'm terrible with my email. So I will have certain emails funnel into certain channels just automatically, and it notifies me, from certain people. I will get a notification. How else do I use that? I will show you in a little bit. It is fucking life changing. I am telling you, the sending emails into the channel, it's just fucking amazing. So, that is amazing. I'll show you. Now, why don't you need to get into depth in topics and descriptions? In my opinion, you don't need to, because why? I can search anything in here. And there's been times where I swear I was talking about something in Slack. I swear I gave direction to a team member. I gave direction to one of my staff members about work on this project. And they're like, no, you didn't. And I'm like, yes, I fucking did. And I'll start, searching for it in Slack. And I either will prove that I talked about it, or I will not be able to find one place where I've talked about it. So it's very interesting. Let me try and think. Something maybe like PowerCon. We just went to that. So So first, it'll show you anything in Slack training. Have I not talked about PowerCon at all? I guess not. Let's see, what else? Um, I'm trying to think of like what would I possibly search for. Okay, SOP. Okay. So I talk about SOP a shitload because I'm all about standard operating procedure. I'm all about like just continuously, leveling up our procedures. I don't like making dumb mistakes, and I don't like making dumb mistakes over and over. So here is what it's going to show. It's going to show every time we've talked about SOP, it's going to show this channel that I have, which is all about our transaction coordination SOP, even archived channels. So different things. Okay. So here is every time that I've ever like discussed SOP or anybody's ever discussed SOP if you really want to like get into the weeds on things. And then, well, that's the channel, but you can bring up every time it's ever said anything. So for me and for my brain and how my brain works, especially sometimes I can't remember what channel I've put a certain thought in. Okay. And you'll find that you'll create two different kinds of channels. Let's say you're really into football and you create a channel about the Chicago Bears, and then you create a channel about like Sunday night football, and you cannot remember like when you were talking about where you're going to go watch the game, right? And so if you start searching up here, it'll show you what channel. Okay. So that will come in handy for you. Okay, what else do I want to talk about? Okay, so you know how I was showing you about the email address stuff? Why I love that so much, and I'm gonna try and find one where I don't show too much of my transaction. Um, let's see. Okay, so just like for instance, a buyer. Okay, I have my buyers set up on searches, right? We all do. Okay. And then we sometimes will have that same search emailed to ourselves. Well, I fucking hate email. I think I'm not alone in that, right? I have like a million, well, probably like 69,000, and I'm not exaggerating, unread emails. Okay. And I'm trying to really mitigate that. Okay. So if I have any buyers who are even like just like not even serious, just hey, I'm wondering if you can just tell me what's out there. Sometimes they don't even want to be on a search and they're like, just watch the market for me. This is what we're interested in. So I'll be like, okay, and I'll set up a search and it will feed their specific properties into a channel with their name, and this is what it looks like. Boom, this property, whatever, whatever, that lot, I guess, right? And you can actually click on the email and on the link, and it will bring it up. Okay. It's freaking awesome. That was an old thing that's changed. Don't worry. So yeah, we have started incorporating that into our business, and it has been fucking life changing. I think we incorporated that about 6 months ago, and it has definitely saved some business from slipping through the cracks. I mean, because you have like CRMs and all other kinds of stuff, but this is like that personal touch, and it also helps you stay tuned into the market. I also have a hot sheets channel. So we have a hot sheets alert. Um, and we've got it set up. Well, you're not going to see it if I open the link because I only have it set up for Slack. But if I open the link, it's going to take me directly to the hot sheet. So that's another big thing that we do. God, I sound like an old lady. Like my fucking vocal cords are screeching. I sound like a smoker. Okay, so Let's see, what else do we have here? What else do I want to share with you? Um, okay. So, strategies. Oh, so transaction management. Along those same lines, like I said, for listings and purchases, I create a channel for each transaction. I lock it down, I make it private. I'm trying to see one that maybe isn't going to be a big deal to share. Okay, this one is not in the Quad Cities. It's not local, it's in Dubuque. Okay, so I'll just go all the way up, 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 up. So, I mean, this is, and it's a nice trail to have as well. Like all of our communication is in here, so if anything should ever happen and they're wondering, like, um, you know, we need to pull our records for anything, we can show, like, it shows how many times we ran ads, because my assistant's like reporting on it or whatever, whatever, whatever. And so it, this is what it looks like. And this is us talking and graphics, and this is that ClickUp integration. So I have a whole, SOP in here. And this is every single tiny little step. When Lady, our assistant, is finishing a task, it'll pop up as a notification in this specific channel because it's tied to this specific channel. Okay. So does it get really fucking annoying when she starts really going to town on her tasks? Yes. So that's when I will swipe and I will mute for like an hour because I'm like, I'm not having it. Okay. Like, look at that shit. It got insane there for a while. Okay. And then I'm trying to see, there is another, that's not a good example because there are things I wanted to show you guys in okay, here it is. So for instance, here, you can pin certain things in the channel. Okay, so events. I have an events channel. And what Lady does is she'll check my emails and she'll just pop in here any events that she thinks that I should be aware of. If I want her to RSVP me to them, she'll do that. Or if she thinks she needs to remind me, then she'll do that. And so this is how we utilize this channel. Okay. Now, when we set up this email address for this channel, I pinned it. So when I opened this pin and I clicked on it, it brought me to this message back in November 6th, 2023. And so if you pin a message, and in order to pin a message, all you simply need to do is right click and then more message actions, pin to channel. If you pin a message, and you hover, now there's two pinned messages, and now it's going to show that second one, but I'm going to X out of that because we don't want that one pinned. Okay, so I have like tons of, in certain channels I have like 5 or 6 messages that are pinned, and it is a very well organized channel. So that is pinning. Bookmarks are a different thing that also come in handy. Let me see. Okay, here we go. So here's another, like, here's my YouTube channel, and this is a pinned message. And then here are bookmarks. Bookmarks lead me to, obviously, that's a bookmark that is a link that'll lead me to directly to a spreadsheet. This will link me to directly to a Google Doc. Okay, so this is where you post links, you bookmark links. So, for instance, I have another tip for you guys. I have a Google channel, okay, and this is uh, where we talk about our Google My Business page, where we talk about requesting reviews and testimonials, like just where we hash out a bunch of Google shit. Okay. So in here is, a template. Look, I pinned a message about a template that I wanted ladies to send out, right? And then also we've got bookmarks for this is my request review for my Team TBG Google my business. This is my review request for my Virtuplicity business. Okay. And then this one, which I really did try to share my whole screen, and for some reason Restream wouldn't let me do that. But if I open that, this is my sold properties. My assistants pin every property, every transaction I've ever done, they pin it in my Google, my business. So it shows up on a map like every fucking property I've ever done. And it looks really impressive and cool. So I like to send that to people sometimes too. It comes in handy. So what's really cool about this in Slack is you're really fucking organized because you can grab these links whenever you need. You can store I mean, okay, some people would be like, don't store your passwords in here. Well, I fucking store my passwords in here. I actually have a whole channel. I have two different channels. One called account info, which is for my eyes only. And then I have another channel that's called account info team that is for uh, my assistants and people like that. Okay, so I don't use LastPass or anything like that. I actually use a Slack channel, and we store all of our, I mean, social media, like all my password, all my, like they could ruin me if I share everything non-critical. Okay. So my bank shit is in my own channel. Okay. But that's what's really handy is because then I'll go in my Slack if I need to find anything, or if they need to show anything. I remember what I was going to show you guys, that open phone channel. So if you need to have more than one phone number, or more than one open phone line, this is why I label it open phone and then the phone number. That also helps you not forget the phone number, right? So one tip is we have our .loop verification phone number tied to open phone. That way lady gets the text here and I can get the text here and also read it. So that's just a tip if you have virtual assistants that are helping you out with your .loop. Then we have, I can see texts come in. You can even see like pictures. I want to see if somebody sent like a picture. Well, not for a while, but yeah, this is what it looks like. Missed calls, whatever, and you can click on the link and jump to the conversation. So it's really cool. Okay, I am going to post a bunch of shortcuts, keyboard shortcuts, and things like that because I hope that that'll help you guys. And then, oh my God, my dogs are snoring. Like, come on. Whenever I'm doing a training, like, I hope you guys aren't snoring, but you probably are. Okay, so advanced tips and tricks. Let's see. Slackbot, I already showed you guys that. Integrating Slack with other like apps and stuff. I kind of showed you that. I don't want to show you how to like actually do the integration because it's pretty self-explanatory, and then you actually need to go in and re-log into whatever app you need to use. It's specific to your own account. So you'll want to definitely Google that. But I think I've given you guys enough info to be dangerous when I look at this. Let me check my, oh my gosh, my stupid dog. I'm gonna wake him up. Wake up. Let's see. I'm just gonna see if there's anybody that has any questions. I'm opening up for questions. Let's see. More integrations, please. Um, yeah. You guys are gonna have to search the integrations yourself. That's about all I got for that. But I can't really think of anything I'm sure, like, as soon as I end this training, I'm gonna be, like, remembering 200 more things that I could have showed you about Slack, but I think especially if you don't know a lot about Slack, I'm hoping that I've given you kind of a good grasp of it. I will say that I was so against Slack when I started using it. I did not want to use it, and it was my very first virtual assistant who, basically forced me into it. I wanted to communicate through Facebook Messenger. Like, that's what I was comfortable with. And when we were chatting, every time I would start to talk about a subject for more than 5 minutes, she would, create a channel about it. And then I started to kind of understand the concept and get the hang of it. So, once I learned how to properly leverage it with those bookmarks and pinning and fucking emailing into the different channels and everything, I learned it really is a powerful tool. So if you have any questions, after the lives, these will be posted on all the social media platforms that these are streamed on. And you guys feel free to reach out, slide into my DMs, get a hold of me, but post your questions too, because I'm sure a lot of people have the same questions. I haven't decided next week's topic, so please don't be shy about suggesting topics or giving me ideas of what to talk about because I definitely want to make sure there's subjects you guys want to learn on. All right, thanks.